Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. No, it's not clickbait. I actually believe that ToyCon New Jersey purposefully shorted the amount of Highland Warriors that they had on hand available for attendees. And we need to talk about it. If Saturday morning cartoons fueled your imagination as a kid and powers your action figure collecting now as an adult, then you're in the right place. Thanks for stopping by and welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Collector. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Over the past year, Articulated Empire has become your trusted online retailer. They carry all the latest lines like Mythic Legions, Valaverse, AWOC, Zesray Studios, and much, much more. They ship your items quickly and securely. You'll be quite happy with how Steve and his team follow through with their care and attention. Articulated Empire also offers free shipping over $75 and no tax except for Illinois residents. So head over to articulatedempire.com today and build your empire. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get going today, if you are hate watching and are expecting me to go on a rant and yell and scream and cuss and be all mad at the showrunners at ToyCon New Jersey or the Four Horsemen or whatever, that's not going to happen. This is a rational conversation that we're going to have here. These are rational arguments, and if you're looking for hate clicks or whatever, and you want to, pull clips out and go, look, see, like this guy's bashing the horsemen. I'm not doing that. That's not what we're doing here. So if that's what you're wanting, there's plenty of other channels out there that will deliver that, if that's what you want. It's not hard to find. Go get it. But we're going to start things off today talking about the Highland Warrior and its availability at ToyCon New Jersey. Let's start off with two caveats, okay? I would appreciate it. I've taken notes. I would appreciate if you guys take some notes. And let's start with some caveats. Number one, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's just get that straight out of the way. I'm a YouTuber, a toy tuber. I come on here and I talk about toys. Okay, I do not work in the business. This is not my line of work. It's not what I do for a living. I'm a designer. That's what I do for a living, a designer and illustrator. I've been doing this channel. This is my 5th year doing this channel in its current form and talking about toys. And I've interviewed a lot of people and I've talked to a lot of people at shows, toy producers, toy manufacturers, and I have a little bit of information. I have a little bit of knowledge. Okay, so a little bit is a lot more dangerous than no information at all. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. I don't really know what I'm talking about. All right, if I tell you something, I believe it to be true. Okay, let's just say that. Like, if I give you information, I'm not speaking in hyperbole, and I'm not talking out of my butt. If I say something, then this is what I believe to be true because I've either heard it directly from a manufacturer or a toy company. Okay, I've heard it from their lips. If I say this is how this works, this is how I believe it to be true, unless those people were lying to me, which is possible. The second caveat is that I was not there. I was not in person in ToyCon New Jersey. This information is coming from two different sources, and these are two different sources that I trust, and they have no reason to lie about this information. It doesn't benefit them in any way to lie or spread misinformation, and they got it directly from people who either worked at the show or worked at Four Horsemen. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Who are your sources, Mark? Well, I can't tell you who my sources are. I don't want to out them, but at the same time, these are people that I trust. And when they say this is what I heard directly from XYZ, I trust that information to be true. So let's get those two caveats out of the way right off the bat. Okay, number one, don't know what I'm talking about. Number two, information came directly from those sources. Let's talk about what happened. Okay, so at ToyCon New Jersey, ToyCon New Jersey is offering an exclusive figure, the Highlands Warrior. It's a beautiful figure. Beautiful figure. Okay, absolutely amazing parts reuse and paint applications, and new soft goods are making an amazing figure. If you want to see a nice preview of this figure, lots of people got their hands on. I'm always going to promote Bill from Dorklayer. He does great reviews. Check out his review of the Highland Warrior. It's amazing. Okay, they have this figure is produced by the Four Horsemen. It's made specifically for ToyCon New Jersey. Now, so what happened? It sold out pretty quickly on Saturday, really fast. And then even less were available on Sunday. So you have attendees who have driven as far as 10 minutes away, or potentially as far as 10 hours away, 12 hours away. People flew to get here. People drove multiple hours to get here. This is a big con. You know, I don't know the size of the con, but it's well attended. Okay, let's go with that. It's well attended. So you have people who have taken their time. They've bought tickets, plane tickets, driven tanks of gas, maybe hotel stays, to come and attend this event to get figures, and they're sold out. I am sure that there were plenty of attendees who wanted to get their hands on these figures and couldn't, because they were sold out fairly quickly. Now, they did have limits in place. From what I understand, the limit was 3. The limit was 3 Highland Warriors per day, and they sold out pretty quickly. Is 3 too many? Is it too little? I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like maybe like 2 is a good number, but hey, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna, who knows? I'm not smart enough to figure these things out, right? But nonetheless, they're gone pretty quickly, all right? So where is the problem? Was the show over-attended? Was the estimation of the number of people who were going to be attending ToyCon New Jersey too high? Was it much higher than anticipated? Or was the figure underproduced? Clearly, it was. Clearly, it was underproduced because the supply did not meet the demand. Okay, so now, who is in control of the number of figures produced? I honestly don't know. I do not know if the showrunners, in this case, it'd be Joe Viteri, who works very closely with the Four Horsemen, who helps them run their own show in November, Legions Con. He's one of the 2 showrunners of that show, him and Jeremy Gerard, who is the marketing and sales guy at Four Horsemen Studios. You would think that Joe and Jeremy, the person who's running the show and the person who is like helping them figure out how many figures to order, you would think that there'd be a very clear line of information. We estimate this many number of attendees to our show, and we estimate this number of our fan base being there to buy up this figure. Four Horsemen have been doing this for long enough now that they know that their figures are in high demand. They know that their exclusives are going to sell out, and they should produce more. Now, again, another caveat. This figure had to be produced probably in the neighborhood of 18 months ago. Okay? The figure has to be in production, on schedule, fit into the Four Horsemen's already packed production schedule. It has to slot in a certain space for it to be produced and shipped and available for sale at this show in April of 2026, which means they were probably working on this figure in late 24 and certainly all of 25 to make it happen. Okay, so maybe the numbers, maybe their spike in popularity has been in the last year. Maybe that's a huge spike, and they could chart that on a graph to know that maybe we should have X number of figures. I mean, I don't know if where in the production the figure was, but last year's numbers of attendees for ToyCon New Jersey, you would know that by the end of March, by the middle of April, you would know the 2025 numbers. Did that give them enough time to go and say, hey, we need 500 more, we need 1,000 more, whatever? I don't know. Seems like it could have been, but the figure could have already been produced by then and maybe already on its way over. Who knows? I don't know. That's inside information, and I don't have it. Okay? So that could be a factor, is that maybe more people attended, and maybe last year was a good attendee without a Four Horsemen exclusive. I don't know if last year if ToyCon had a Four Horsemen exclusive. I don't remember. Okay. So I don't know. But it does seem like there's an open path of communication between the showrunner and the people who are ordering, or, at least can advise on the number of figures that need to be ordered. Okay. So was it under ordered? Clearly it was. Okay. Now, is this the only place you can get this figure? No. Four Horsemen have already said that you'll be able to get the retail version of the Highlands Warriors down the road directly from Four Horsemen, okay? Directly from Four Horsemen with a head missing. It won't have the exclusive Magnus head that was the ToyCon exclusive, ToyCon New Jersey exclusive. This is where things get a little sketchy. One of my sources has confirmed, one source told me, another source confirmed, per a member of the Four Horsemen Studios, a certain number of Highland Warriors were held back from the show for contractual obligations to go to Big Bad Toy Store for sale at a later date. Now, this is where I have a problem. Okay? Because this is where it starts getting a little sticky. Is it fair to hold back stock from a show exclusive for attendees to sell later at Big Bad Toy Store? Now, let's pause this conversation right here and let's revisit what I know to be true, or what I think to be true, about how show exclusives come to be. Okay, let's say there's a con. Let's say the con says, Four Horsemen, I would like, or let's not even say Four Horsemen, random toy producer, we would like an exclusive figure from your store, from your company. We want you guys to make us an exclusive figure for this con. That company says, okay, for that to happen, you will pay X number of dollars for the production of that figure. Let's say they pay half. We'll pay half, you guys pay half. Okay? I don't know if that's how it works. It may be 70-30, 60-40, 80-20, 90-10. I don't know. But the show will foot some of the cost of production for that figure. Okay? And then the company makes that figure, they produce the figure, they ship the figure, it goes to the show. The show now owns the figure. The show now can choose to charge whatever they want. At ZoloCon, the Four Horsemen exclusive was $70. At ToyCon New Jersey, this show exclusive was $55. Okay? The show can choose to charge what they want. They should be charging enough over the production costs to make a profit on, and to make back their money of their production cost and then turn a profit. That's just smart business. It's business 101. That's how it works. Okay? But let's say in this case, Big Bad Toy Store says, hey, random toy show, ToyCon, we would like to get in on this. We would like a small portion of your figures, your exclusive, to sell later on our show, on our online store. And if you do that, we will give you X amount of dollars for the production cost that you have to pay up front. So now Big Bad Toy Store has now helped Random Toy Show pay Random Toy Company production costs for that figure. If that is how this exclusive was structured, if Big Bad Toy Store was either approached ToyCon New Jersey and said, we will pay X amount of money in the production cost for your exclusive for us to have some later to sell on Big Bad Toy Store, then that is a completely different argument, okay? That is not something that we can argue with. Now you're arguing the morality of having a figure sold at a show, but then purposely held back later for Big Bad Toy Store. It's time for some coffee. The old whistle's getting dry. If that is the case, and I want to believe that the people at Big Bad Toy Store, the people who run Big Bad Toy Store, are good people. I want to believe that. I want to believe that they are a small company who has made it big and they are looking out for their customers, but they're also looking out for the continuation and growth of their business. They have to make a profit. I understand that. Okay. So I want to think that they're good people. All right. So, if that is the case, are you upset about that? Does that bother you? Is that fair? Okay? Because we do know that Big Bad Toy Store is going to mark that figure up. Now, in the past, here is what we have been told. We have been told in the past that if the figure doesn't sell out at the show, a select number of those figures will be sold at Big Bad Toy Store at a later date. I think this is where the lies begin, because that's not wholly truthful. If the figure doesn't sell out, well, the figure didn't sell out. You purposefully held some back. That's a difference. There's a difference there. And this calls into question the figures that have been marketed as show exclusives for at least the last year and a half, maybe 2 years. We have heard this same thing from Jeremy at Four Horsemen. If the figures don't sell out, then that number will be sold at Big Bad Toy Store. That's fantastic. That's great. But it's not a question of if they sell out. It's a question of we held some back for that sale specifically. Okay? And so that now calls into question the number of exclusives that's happened to. Now, of course, Operation Monster Force is produced by Big Bad Workshop, which is Big Bad Toy Store. So if Operation Monster Force wants to hold back some of their exclusive, like last year when they held back some of their exclusive translucent eraser figures and then later sold them on Big Bad Toy Store, well, that's not as sketchy to me, because that's their toy line that they are producing, and it's their toy store. So they can do what they want. It's the same people, right? But this just doesn't sit well with me. Now, I'm not really bashing anybody here. I'm just kind of giving my opinion, and I'm just trying to pose the question to you guys. I'm always trying to pose it. I'm trying to give this information in a question form. How does this sit well with you when show attendees, let's just take me for example. I live in Florida. To go to New Jersey, that's either a 16-hour drive, or I have to drive 3 hours to Jacksonville and get a plane and then pay for a plane ticket. Okay. And that plane ticket, I can usually get a direct flight with no layover, and I'm going to spend about $200 on my plane ticket flying out of Jacksonville to Newark. That's going to run me right around $200 for a plane ticket. Now, I can stay with a couple of friends there, or I can get a hotel. Let's say that I get a hotel and I spend $150 on a hotel. Now, I'm $350 in, plus my tank of gas there and back from the airport. That's going to cost me a full tank of gas there and back for the airport. So now I'm in the hole. What are we in the hole? 250 plus a tank of gas, another 50, because of the way things are in the world right now. It's on fire. Let's just say I'm already in the hole for $300. I have to buy a ticket to actually get in. I either have to rent a car or ride with friends. So I'm now up to, let's say, $350, almost $400. There's food in there. I'm going to have to eat. And I've spent $450 of my money to now arrive at your show, and I don't get a figure. And I don't get a figure because you're quote unquote sold out for the day. And I'm totally fine allotting a set number of figures on Saturday and a set number of figures on Sunday. You don't want to sell out on day one. You don't want to be telling people who only come on day two, sorry, you didn't get a chance. I think that's a great practice, splitting up your inventory for the 2 days. It makes perfect sense. Okay? It makes perfect sense. So I come back on the next day, they're sold out again. I didn't get a figure. Now, I have spent at least $450 of my own money, probably closer to $500, to get myself there and in attendance, and I don't get a figure. Okay? There's something wrong with that plan. That's just as wrong for me as it is the guy who lives 10 minutes down the road who said, I'm going to go and pick up a figure. He drives 10 minutes and doesn't get a figure. It's the same, right? I'm out more money, but it's not fair to either one of us, right? Like, it's not fair. Okay? So then that figure then goes to Big Bad Toy Store 2-3 months down the road, And then they're going to charge more. So let's say this figure was $55. They're probably going to charge $70 or $75 for this figure. Okay. Now, is this hurting? We know that it's helping the company. Like the show has made their money. Four Horsemen have made their money. But who is this? Who is hurting here? The show attendees are hurting. That's who it's hurting. So if you set this precedent, if you train us, and we are trainable, and we do learn behaviors pretty easily, us consumers, if you train us to where we know that you're purposefully holding product back to sell at a later date on Big Bad Toy Store, we just won't attend the con. Why would I want to spend my entire weekend, waste $500 going to a con, traveling, possibly get sick, all the stuff that comes from traveling and going to a con? Why would I want to do that to possibly miss out on the figure only to have to buy it later on Big Bad Toy Store? Whatever my cost to get me there is, it is far greater than whatever markup Big Bad Toy Store is going to add. I'll just wait. So who does this now hurt? This now hurts the show. This now hurts the attendance of ToyCon New Jersey. Why would I go there? So this is exactly what I'm facing right now when I'm thinking, should I go to ZoloCon next year? I have to do that. I have to drive 3 hours to my airport. I have to fly up to Pennsylvania. I may have a layover or not. I have to either stay with a friend or get a hotel and go to ZoloCon. And I could just wait for them to put the ZoloCon exclusive on Big Bad Toy Store. I just won't go. So this is hurting in the long run. It's hurting fans in the short term. It's hurting fans and attendees, and in the long run, it's hurting shows. The only benefit I see here is that it's really benefiting Big Bad Toy Store. Again, I'm not bashing them. I've met those guys. They're nice guys. They're not purposely trying to hurt us. But at the same time, the fans that want to get their hands on these figures, and believe me, I'm speaking about fans. I'm not talking about the dirtbags who get there, go to the show, buy their 3 figures, and then 5 minutes later, those 3 figures are triple in price on eBay or the Cabal. Those people, I hope you get a rash. There you go. Okay, I hope you get explosive diarrhea and are stuck in your car and you have a sneezing fit. That's what I hope. All right, because you're keeping figures out of the hands of people who really want to be there and really want to get their hands on this figure just to turn a profit. That makes you skeezy. So I don't know. Here is my solution. Okay, I'm not going to pose a question or state that there's a problem without offering a solution. I think while it is not serving instant gratification, and a lot of us, me included, we thrive on instant gratification, okay? I would much rather go into a store and buy a figure than buy it online. Why? I found it in the wild. There's that excitement. I paid the money. I get the figure. I'm home and I have the figure. It's instant gratification. That's better to me than clicking buy now on any store. Okay. So this will not serve instant gratification, but I think it will serve the fans in the long run. Okay. The way Big Bad Toy Store handled, or Big Bad Workshop handled their Phantom Core Trooper last year, that exclusive just shipped and we just got our hands on it March of 26. The way they did that was at every toy show that they went to, you could go up to their table and you could say, I'm a customer of Big Bad Toy Store. Here's my email. Here's my phone number. I would like to pre-order your exclusive. So have a show exclusive. Okay. It's a show exclusive figure, but it's a pre-order. You go to the show, you pre-order it. You can pre-order as many as you want. I think Big Bad Toy Store last year capped it at 10, and they could keep track with how many you had already in your cart, or your that you had pre-ordered. They capped it at 10, but allow them to pre-order up to 10. I know, everybody knows that people who are attending these shows are picking up extra figures for their friends who can attend. I had several friends at this show, and one of them was able to get me one. And so I have one coming. I have a Highland Warrior coming, but so we all know we're not trying to hide the fact that attendees will also mule figures for their friends back home. I do it for people. If I'm going to a show they can't make it to, I buy them figures. That's fair. It works out. So you can pre-order figures for your friends. You can say, hey, I want 10, knowing that I'm probably going to keep 2, and then I can sell the rest to my friends. Not sell them to make a profit, whatever. Selling them to my friends, or I'm trading to my friends to make sure the people who can't make it out to a show can get one. All right? So you pre-order. So by the end of the year, okay, by your whatever is your last show that you're taking pre-orders at, okay, whatever show is your last show, then you place your order. And then instead of placing an order for 1,000 and having 2,000 people upset, you've now placed an order for 3,000 and 3,000 people are happy. Now, again, you don't get to come home from the show with an exclusive. You have to wait a year. You have to wait 18 months or whatever, right? I mean, to get your number, but the figure could already be tooled or molded or whatever needs to be. Like the pre-production process could happen. You're just waiting on that final number, right? That's the way I think show exclusives should be handled. I think it should be a pre-order. That's what I think. But it's not always about what I think. This is a conversation. It's a 30-minute conversation. Boy, I hope you guys like to hear me talk. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. Your rational, logical thoughts are on this, and what if the pre-order process doesn't work for you? What would work? What are your ideas? And then maybe I'll make a follow-up video on this, and we'll read some of the comments, and we'll see if I get enough rational, logical, responses. Not the 4-H sucks, they should shut down. That's not what we're saying here. All right. So I want to know your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments down below. If you want to hear me talk and not look at this beautiful face, you can catch me on my podcast that I do with my buddy Scott, who is a stand-up comedian, super funny dude. It's called Across the Toyverse. Comes out every 2 weeks wherever you download your podcast. And be sure to check out my Instagram called Saturday Morning Toy Collector over on Instagram. I'm currently at 500 subs. I want to get to 1,000 subs so I can start doing lives, and I'll start doing live shows on Instagram if we can hurry up and get me to that 1,000 sub list subscriber number. That's the only reason I'm trying to get to that number. I'm not out here chasing subs. I just like to talk toys, and I'd like to talk toys in a different way. So if you could help me do that, that'd be great. I am your Saturday Morning Toy Collector, Mark. I'll see you guys in the toy aisles.